me, Gazbot. It's about 12:30, and I have a convention today, a comic convention. But it's weird because normally when I have a comic convention, I need to get up early to get there to set up before everyone else shows up, or get there the night before, and then still get there at like 8 before people get there at 9. But it's 12:30, and I'm not running late, and it starts at 3. And I can't sit up until 2. I'm gonna aim to get there a little bit early. It's at a library, which I've never done before. So I'm gonna load up the car and let's get into it. So I'm in my messy garage, but I've never had a garage before during show season. And these are pillars, you know, crate things that I built that normally I have to build at a show. Once in a while I try building them ahead of time, use zip ties to keep them tight and load them in the car this way, but then I have to break them down when I get home because I have nowhere to store them. The last show I did was Free Comic Book Day, built them up this way, brought them home this way, realized I could keep them in the garage. So this should save me some time because they're already done and I can bring them again. I don't know if I'll have room for them, but it's no effort to just throw them in the car, and then I'll load the rest up onto my hand truck and blah, 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 blah. And just like that, the car's loaded. I've said before how having a garage and being on the first floor helps a lot. But also, since I did so much work prepping for the last show, everything was all boxed up properly. I knew how I was gonna pack it. Now, if I was doing a toy show, I'd have to rearrange, but since it's just art and comics, I got everything in, I think 5-10 minutes total. From the time I walked out of the house to the time this is all loaded. Didn't even need the hand cart, but I'm bringing it in case I need it to bring stuff into the library. So I'm going to go clean up a little bit and head out. One thing I'm bringing different is this plastic thing, which looks like I got it custom made. I actually bought that when Barnes & Noble or Borders was going out of business. I have 2 of them. I used to bring them as my main displays. They're table countertops, and it's good. It just takes up all the surface area. But my understanding is that I'm gonna have a really wide table, so I can put that up and still have lots of room for other displays. If not, I won't use it, but I'll bring it just in case. All right, I brushed my teeth, put a little bit of new gel in my hair, changed my t-shirt, freshened up just a bit. I put some candy in my pocket. I don't have gum, otherwise I would bring gum for fresh breath later on. And I grabbed this little iPhone tripod? Maybe I'll be able to use it on the table, I don't know. I'm not even sure if I've ever used it. It was just kicking around. Why not bring it? I'm also gonna get a bottle of water because I don't know what the hydration situation will be. I almost forgot this. I guess I'm a little out of breath. I've just had to run back up and down the stairs like 3 times because I keep forgetting things. This is because I have the new iPhone and it doesn't have a normal audio plug-in anymore. It's got one of these things, which is annoying, but whatever. But I have a Square. I have the older Square. It's not the Bluetooth one, to take a credit card for my customers at a show. Without this, I can't use it. And that's what happened to me at Free Comic Book Day. Luckily, a fellow artist named Heidi let me borrow hers and it worked out, but I don't want to miss out sales because I can't take a credit card, and I can't take a credit card without Square, and I can't take Square on my new phone without this. There we go, car once again. Never love these angles. I'm getting a little better at it. I am on my way to the Menlo Park Library in the Bay Area, California here. Should be about a half-hour drive. The show starts at 3. They say get there at 2 to start like setting up, and an hour is sort of the minimum I usually need to set up. I'm a very slow starter to get things going. If I get a little extra time, I would like it. So I'm leaving at 1 to get there about 1:30. So maybe they let me go in a little early, but if not, at least I park, I know where I'm going, I talk to who I have to talk to so that at like 2 o'clock on the dot, I could run in and start setting stuff up. It's a short show, it's from 3 to 7, it's only 4 hours, but it's local, it's free for me, it's free for people who want to attend it, and it's at a library. So there's a lot of good things going. There's very little risk, and it's helping out a library, and it's helping out me, hopefully, and you know, if I make any money, it's profit, theoretically. I mean, I have my hours in, but figure 4 hours there, and about an hour each way to drive, maybe 3 hours to set up. So let's say 7 hours, 7 hours. So if I make $70, that's $10 an hour. Let's say I make $80 to cover materials. If I make $80, that's $10 an hour, all inclusive, which isn't terrible. You know, I mean, it's about minimum wage, I guess, but it's getting my stuff out there, and it's local. So if I make $70, $80, I'll be fine. Anything over that, I'm having a good day. Anything less than that, and I'm like, was this really worth it? But again, free, local, here we go. Yes. Well, I just pulled up. This area looks really nice, very suburban and tree-filled, and you can't park right in front. They have handicap spaces that are blocked off, but even if they weren't, they're handicap or they're hour only. But I have the closest spot you could possibly get without being in those spots. I don't know how I lucked out. Somebody must have just pulled out. So I'm a bit early. I'm going to go in and connect with my contact and see what the situation is. That's the library. That's my car. So as you can see, pretty close. And as I said, it's a nice area. Reminds me of suburban New Jersey, although it probably reminds everybody of suburban wherever they're from. cool display here. I don't know if this is somebody's private collection or what, but it's toys, but it's, you know, fire department people and G.I. Joe and like different occupations, I suppose. I remember they used to do this at my school, and I guess they do it at libraries, and they'll cycle it through every now and then, but I haven't seen one in a while. It's kind of fun. Okay, so I met my contact John, who seems like a nice fellow in a Charlie Brown shirt, and this apparently is their third time doing this. I told him I've never done a library before, so I'm brand new at it, and he's somewhat new, but you know, apparently they're learning from past ones and whatever, and he was telling me how they moved the tables to a better area than last time, but I wasn't here last time, so anything I get will be better than last time. So, but I am a little early. I think it's about 20 minutes. He said at around 2, they're gonna shoo everybody out, set up the tables, so there's no way I could set anything up. The most I could do is bring my stuff over and put it in a pile near the front of the door, which maybe I'll do that, but I don't wanna do it too soon because then I'm gonna literally be sitting next to a pile for 20 minutes. So I'm gonna go to my car, do a little social media, and then in a few minutes start bringing stuff over in anticipation. So I'm in my car with the air conditioning, and I can't get anything to work. I have 2 bars, so I should have some signal, but Facebook opens and tells me, oh, there's a notification, but I can't look at it. And so I was going to respond to some things and maybe post another picture like, hey, I'm at the library. I did put up a video when I was driving through Instagram, which is good that I did because I might not be able to mention it again now that I'm here. Maybe inside the building's better, although usually not. Maybe they have a free Wi-Fi I could use, but out here, I'm in no man's land. So I got about 15 minutes. Maybe in about 5-10 minutes, I'll start just bringing stuff over for lack of anything better to do. So I brought the hand cart in filled with basically everything, including the new old tabletop display. I didn't bring any of the grids in. I might not have room for them, so I'm just gonna hold off on that. But I am going to get my backpack. We're about 3 minutes to 2, but I guess it's not at 2 we could set up. It's at 2, they kick people out and they set up the tables. So I might not get to start setting up until 1/4 after. But if I'm not doing my grids behind me, I won't need as much time. So yeah, the whole thing is a learning process. The guy I was talking to did say that if I had like one of those pull-up banners, that would fit, which I've thought about getting, but don't have. But it did occur to me, similar, I have the cutout of the Horror A4, the huge one, that's mostly flat, that I probably could get away with using that. But I intentionally didn't bring it because it's a library, there's probably gonna be young kids, and it might be considered too scary, so I didn't wanna turn people off or cause a problem that way. And maybe not, that's just something I made up in my head, but you know, whatever. All right, got about 20 minutes before it starts. I'm kind of mostly set up. I have my table set up. I have my tablecloth out. I put my print books out, my pins, my comics, and the table display, but I'm only showing my new headshots. I'm not at all displaying any of my 11x17 Godzilla stuff or my Ninja Turtles or any of that. I mean, it's in my book, but if somebody walked by, they wouldn't see it. So it is a little cramped. I'm not gonna build my whole thing behind me, but I am gonna grab one of these towers and just put a few, you know, a Ninja Turtle or Godzilla, just so people see an example. Then I can go, hey, look at this. So
I am carrying it, and up front, they had a chalk artist or more. It seemed like a family of chalk artists, or maybe they're not related. I don't know. They had some chalk artists. And then you can see I come through the door here. They had a little metal detector-y thing. And then you turn the corner, and right in the middle of the library is the Comic-Con. To the left there was a retailer setting up boxes, long boxes. There was some sort of interactive photo thing here. I never got a chance to look at it. There is Bumper Boy. She had the most deluxe setup of the artist. There's Elusive Comics and Games on the left. And then this middle area is the main chunk of where all the artists are. And as I come around, nobody would walk through the middle. You'd walk around the edges. So here's the setup I had. And then you can see, then I put up the tower. And the group to the right of me there, they were not another artist. They were like a little setup for coloring for kids. So I asked if they minded if I put prints on that side, because it's kind of not very polite to do that without asking. But yeah, so that's the setup I had. And then this was right as people started coming in, so you could see there was a quick flood of people coming in. I'm just showing different angles. And it was reasonably busy when we got going, so that was pretty cool. There's the back of my stand, and then I just took a walk through. You can see they had some novelists next to me, and it wasn't all comic artists. There's only a couple of us comic artists. They had a lot of arts and crafts for kids and little workshop areas. I would say about half the people there were artists or artisans of some sort selling their own wares, and the other half were people that worked for the library or who were volunteering their own time to, you know, or maybe being paid. I don't know, but they were there more project oriented for the kids or for the attendees, as opposed to just straight up artists like myself.
Oh, this setup looks like better than any. So about an hour in, it's 4 o'clock, and it's been reasonably busy. I think it helps that it's free, so people just wander in and out for 10 minutes and leave, and some people are hanging out longer. There's a lot of activities for kids and things. I've done 3 free head sketches. I've sold 2 comics and 2 prints. So, you know, if I do the same for the next 4 hours, 3 hours, then we'll be doing okay. So yeah, let's get back into it. It's 6 o'clock. So yeah, it's about 6 o'clock and things have slowed way down. Around 5 it started slowing down, but then I got a commission to do a drawing from one of the other artists, well, a writer who's near me, which helped my day. But right now I'm a little bit shy of what I wanted to have for the whole day to kind of be okay with it. And barring some crazy sale towards the end, it's been okay. I mean, it's a short day, but yeah, I don't know. But look at this. They got a nice graphic novel section with some manga and some, even they have Bizarro, that's a good one. And they have like alternative comics like Black Hole, but then they also have old school stuff like Terry and the Pirates, and then straight up Marvel Iron Man stuff. So it's pretty good selection here. I don't know also what's been taken out or not. And then, oh, there's even more down here. So we're definitely, what is that? Oh, those are yellow pages. But they're definitely doing a good job taking care of the comic people. 1 o'clock on the dot.
Wait, how many years has it been?
Okay, it is 7:30. I'm already on my way home. It started off promising. It was a sunny day, now it's overcast, which kind of echoes the mood of the con. It was organized well. I knew where to go. You know, everybody knew I was supposed to be there. The setup seemed fine, but it was weird in that it started so late in the day. It started at 3, and it was over at 7. So it was 4 hours, kind of in the middle of the day. And when it started, there was a bunch of people in the library, but they were closing down normal library functions. So they kind of told everybody to leave, set it up, and then they were allowed to come back in. But I'm sure a lot of them just left. And yeah, in retrospect, it would be better if it started earlier, and or if the library maintained its normal functionality, because then people coming in to check out books, do research, whatever they're doing, would then go, oh, there's stuff going on here, and just, you know, it would add to the whole vibe of the place. But it was very kind of quiet. Even when it was busy, there was no regular library customers there. It was only people interested in the con. And I talked to the organizer, and he's very receptive to such things. He's a nice guy, and you know, I have nothing bad to say about him or the library or anybody. But it just is a bummer because from 5 to 6, or I'm sorry, from 3 to 4 was good. It was busy, selling things, having conversations. And then from 4 to 5 was also pretty good. It slowed down a little bit, but it was still pretty good. And then as we got into 5, it really started dying. And by 6, it was done. Like, there was nothing. To the point where, you know, people were wandering around talking to each other, other artists and creators and people working there. And then by like 6:45, everybody started packing up, so that, you know, I showed you that video at 7, most people were packed up, which is unusual. But it wasn't people being, you know, in a hurry to leave or not professional or whatever. It was just like nobody there, no point in being there. So the organizer had suggested, oh, you know, a lot of people said that the first 2 hours were good, which leads me to believe maybe it should just be a 2-hour event, which I disagreed with, because it's a lot of work to like pack everything up, get in the car, drive over, set it up, blah, blah, do all that for 2 hours. I don't know. I probably wouldn't come back if it was a 2-hour event. If he does it again next year, and it's at least 4 hours, maybe he does it earlier, maybe make some adjustments. This is their 3rd year, and they've been improving every year from what I hear. So I might give it another go. But it was kind of a bummer that the last 2 hours seemed just like wasted time. As far as actual tangible sales, I didn't do my minimum. I think I was saying like 80 or 90 or whatever. I gotta double check, but I made like $70, maybe 73 or something like that. Most of it was, I sold a couple pins, and I sold a clearance print, and I think I did sell some comics, which was nice. I sold like the same amount of comics I would normally sell at like a day at a comic convention. I would just normally sell more prints. So I sold a couple issues of the horror, I sold one of Kid Switch, and then I had a $20 commission, which helped a lot. If I didn't have that, it would only be, you know, $50-something. But I did give a lot of free kid head sketches, which, if it's not that busy of a show, and if I get a free table, it's something I'm gonna keep doing, because it makes people happy. It gives me something to do when I'm not busy, and it does, this is the second time now where it's generated, an adult saw that I was drawing, wanted to get one, and was like, well, how much to pay? So it did turn into money that way. So there's a couple different good reasons to do it. So I'll probably continue doing that. Not at a really busy, expensive show, but for some of the smaller shows, it seems like a good thing. Or if I'm at a big show, but it gets slow, why not? Yeah, so that's kind of it. It was, if it wasn't a free table, this would have been a disaster. Since it was a free table, it wasn't bad, but yeah, I'm on the fence if I do it again, and really it's going to have to do with improved crowds, because even if I didn't make that much money, I really thought, oh, it's a library, people are going to want to check out my book, you know, more than just get sketches or art prints or whatever, and I did sell a couple copies of the book, but it wasn't, you know, it wasn't gangbusters, you know, so I don't know. Again, I'm not putting down the library or the organizer or anybody involved in any of it. It was a pleasant time. Everybody seemed to have a good time. Just financially and the time invested, could I have done something else with my day that would have been more worthwhile? Probably. But will I do it again next year? I don't know. We'll see. But I do appreciate being included. So, I guess that's it. This is me, Gazbot, for the Menlo Park Comic Con. Terrible camera in a car, signing off. Flutes! Hey, so it's like 11 o'clock at night. I had some IHOP and recharged, and I've been thinking about the con a lot. And it was a pleasant enough experience. Again, I didn't make a ton of money, and I didn't see a lot of people after the first 2 hours. But it was close, it was easy, you know. I broke it down, I made like about $70, and it was about a 7-hour workday. It was 4 hours at the con and about 3 hours of packing and driving back and forth. So that means I made about $10 an hour, which is, you know, depending on where you live, minimum wage-ish, you know. And I've worked minimum wage jobs before that I enjoyed less and, you know, weren't art-related. But I've reached a point in my career where usually I do better than that, and so it's not, like, it's definitely a thing where if you're just starting out, it would have been great. And, there, you know, me 10 years ago would have been like, yeah, I made $70, awesome! And I'm not saying $70 is nothing, but I could probably have made more if I did an original piece of art and threw it up online and maybe spent a few hours doing it and could have gotten $50 for it, and, you know, or I could have worked on my own comic, or, you know, so that's the kind of stuff that goes through my head. Not that it was a horrible experience or that $70 is nothing, but, like, could I have made more money or done something more productive art-wise with that time? That being said, I've kind of come to the resolution that if asked back, I will go back next year, even if it turned out to be basically the same thing. But here's the thing, and I've talked about this in other videos and with other artists and things. When I go to these conventions, I have my books, but I'm really pushing the prints and the sketches because that's how I make my money. But in a situation like, and I'm always reluctant, like people are like, well, you know, and I've seen this, when people have just comics on their table and nothing else, they will always sell more comics than me, assuming their comic is halfway decent. And this isn't a judgment like, well, their comic's better than mine or mine's better than theirs, but just all things being equal, if we both have like a reasonably well-made comic with a subject matter that isn't, you know, something that people know, like a superhero that's known or something, I've seen it time and time again where they might sell 10, 20, 30 copies of their comic and still do worse financially than me, and still be less busy at their table than me. Because I have people coming up buying prints, which make more money per sale, and wanting to talk about Godzilla, or wanting to talk about Power Rangers or whatever, which is fine, and I enjoy that. But if all I had was my comic, that's all people could talk about. There'd be less talking, but it'd be more about my book, and if they bought anything, it'd be my book, or a pin of my book, or a print of my book, even if, because I would still have ancillary stuff, but it would just be my stuff. So what I'm thinking is, and this is something I thought I would do once I get the trade out, but assuming I don't have the trade out by next year, which I'd love to say I will, but realistically I probably won't because I haven't been able to put out, you know, 3 issues in a year yet, and that's what I'd have to do. I could go there, and it's reasonable to assume I'd have at least 1 more issue out, if not 2. So I'll have 3 to 4 issues of my book, I'll have Kid Switch, I'll have the anthology, maybe I'll have worked on something else, and I'll just have my books, and maybe I will bring along my cardboard cutout of the monster, because there weren't really tiny kids there, and the more I thought about it, it'd probably be fine. I'd check with the organizer first, but if I had just my big monster, which hopefully would be, you know, attention grabber. And I always thought when I got that, it'd be fun to have people take pictures with it. And it never seems to work out because there isn't enough room or it's too crowded. But at a venue like this, where it's less crowded and there is a little bit more room, maybe I could set it up, not behind the table, but next to the table or across from the table. Be like, hey, take a picture with the monster, you know? Because I always, like I said, when I go to cons, I like to do that kind of stuff. So it's weird that I've never been able to make that happen with mine. And I'm not just saying people who are like fans of my work, but like, you know, I would go pose next to robots and things. I don't know what they're from. What is this, Warhammer? I don't know. It's cool, you know? So I can see people doing that. So if I have just my big cutout, and I have my books, and I'll still do sketches and things like that, but as far as what I'm selling, just pins, prints, and books of my own, the Horror A4, maybe if I worked on another book, and just that. And because I'm not paying for the table, I could afford to run that risk. And let's say I do that, and it runs exactly the same, where it's only busy for like the first 2 hours. And let's say because I'm not selling prints, I only make 30 bucks, 40 bucks. And I mean, I'm being generous with myself that I'd sell that many books, maybe I'd do a sketch. It would be more worth it. Because the $70 I made today, it's not gonna change my life, and was it really worth it? But I did sell 3 copies of the Horror A4, a copy of Kid Switch. Those were the best sales. Selling a couple prints was fine, doing a sketch for somebody was fine, but those book sales were the best part of the day. So if I went and doubled or tripled those book sales, and I didn't sell anything else, and I still didn't really make much money, again, I'm not losing money, you know, I'm losing my time, but then my time is spent promoting myself, my comic, and not just prints of, you know, Godzilla and Power Rangers, which I like doing, that might be worth it. And so that's kind of my resolution. That is, if this comes up again where I can go next year, if I'm invited, if the timing works out, I will, but I'm only gonna bring my own stuff. I won't bring any, you know, fan art, as it were. That's my plan. I'm also gonna look into other library events, because apparently this is a thing now that I know there are library events where they might have an artist come and speak or something like that, but actually these are like kind of mini Comic-Cons. It's a thing, and it's been going on for a few years, and I somehow didn't know it. And some of them are very big. You know, this was a smaller one, but the one in Santa Clara is supposed to be like have 9,000 people or something. So I'm like, that's close to me. I should probably look into that. So yeah, I'm gonna look into more library conventions and events. And if I get a free table at one, especially a smaller one, I will maybe just present my own work. Definitely at Menlo Park Mall. I keep saying mall because Metro Park Mall or Menlo Park Mall, whatever. In New Jersey, there was a Menlo Park Mall. This is what I'm getting at. Now I'm in California. So if I do that again next year, just my own stuff. Maybe I'll do it before then somewhere else, but if not, a year from now, if I do it, guaranteed, I'll be taking the plunge of just doing my own stuff. Anyway, this video has gotten long. It's not as informative as I normally like. Make sure you bring water. Good. Oh, and change. Hey, I'm out of there. This is a bad angle. I'm sorry. It is 7:30. I'm going over the bridge. It's bumpy. This was a bad idea. The ones that were, the more I thought about it, like, it'd probably be fine.